Hi guys. Now that we know the concepts or the fundamentals of what a relational database management system is, let's see it in action. In order to do that, we would install something called PostgreSQL, which is like the latest and the most advanced RDBMS system right now. And it also has the capabilities of handling non-relational databases also. So we'll first of all install it. How do you do it? You simply go to Postgres, Google search it, Postgres, and the first option comes. That is postgresql.org. Click on the download button and then select your operating system. I'm using a Windows operating system, so I'll select Windows. Now, here you see there are like multiple versions available here. Which one do you want to install? So I typically prefer the one that is not latest, the one just before that, because that is more stable. So let's see. Let's click on download the installer, and here the latest version is 12.3. Before that, it was 11.8. So I will download this one, 11.8. This is my personal preference. You can always go for the latest version, not an issue at all, because a latest version would always have more capabilities. Uh, However, uh, my personal preference is always to go for the last, not the latest one, but the one before that, unless the latest one is like 6 months to 1 year old. So I have installed Postgres 11.8. So once the download is complete, we'll install it. Now my Postgres has been downloaded and it's in my respective folder. I'll just simply double click it to start the installation process. So once the installation process starts, this dialog box comes up. It would install Visual C++ and many other packages first for PostgreSQL to work. So dialog wizard will come up once the initial setup of Visual C++ is done. We'll click on next and then keep selecting like be it as it is and the default options and keep on clicking next and next. Now this is a password that you'd be using to start your Postgres. So I'll just put it to something basic, uh, like okay. I'll just you can type it anything that you want. So this password will be used for you to launch your Postgres client, that is the PgAdmin client. So I'll click on next, and we'll leave it as it is, and then we'll just go with the default installations. It may take some time to install, but once it's done, we'll be able to create our first SQL database and check out the stuff inside that. Now it is installed. In the end, it asks you to launch Slack Builder at exit. We don't need it. So Stack Builder may be used to download and install additional tools, drivers, and applications to complement your Postgres installation. So we don't need it, or else you can just take it, like keep it as such as defaults, and then click on finish. So again, you have to go ahead, and then it's too much, so we'll not do it. So you want to close the Stack Builder wizard? Yes, I want to close the Stack Builder wizard. So with that, our Postgres has been installed. Now we need to launch it, launch the client. So I'll show you how to do that. If you look at my desktop, there's no icon for Postgre, because it does not work that way. It does not install uh, a desktop client or the desktop software to open and start using it. It all what it does in turn is that it gives you the front end or the client side or the view of the database on that you can access from your browser, like from your Chrome. You can access that way. So let's see. So how do you start it off? Is that you go to the start icon here, the start menu, and search for PgAdmin. So PgAdmin has been installed in my system. I'll just simply click on it, and it opens up the database view that a user like me or anybody who is using a computer can see, and it opens in their respective browsers, the default browser, whatever you have. So it takes a while to open. So our Postgres admin or the PG admin console has opened. So this is the ID and the password that we set while installing. So I'll just fill that thing up here, and I click on OK. So I'll click on save, and my PG admin has started. If you remember, in our other video, we had talked about what exactly is database server, right? So I'll show you that image again. If you look at it, this is the database entirely. This is a server which serves the data and fetches the data from different databases. And each database has got its own table. So this is the exact same thing, the view of which is what we're getting in PgAdmin. So when I installed PG Postgre, it installed all of it. And the PgAdmin is giving me, that is the user, a view of it. Now see how it looks in PgAdmin. So this is the PgAdmin view or the client view. Here you see that they're like name servers, configure, PgAdmin, documentation, and all those things. You can always read about that. But if you look at it, this is a thing called server. Okay. So I click on this. It says that only Postgres SQL 11 servers there, and within each server, there are like multiple. There's a database, right? So let's try it out first. So I can, with this view, I can always create multiple instances for these database servers. Okay. So let's do that. I'll leave this as such here. Now that Postgres has been installed and we have started the PgAdmin, we need to create a new server, right? How do we create it? We right click on this thing called servers. We can also go to file and then sorry, object, and then we can also create. Here what we need to do is we just simply right click and create, and we select server. So in this I'll give it a name called tutorial, and it is saying either hostname or address or service should be specified. So that is under connections. So there's something called hostname slash addresses. So what does it mean? Like if your database is hosted in some remote place or in the cloud, then you can connect this server that you've created here to that. So that this is the address actually to that. But right now we are not doing anything of that sort. We want the server to be created in our desktop or like in our machine locally. So for that we have to give localhost as the host name or the address. Second thing is here you have to give the password. So this password is the same as what we defined while installing. So I'll save it. So now if you see, a new database has been opened, has been created. Now if I open this, I see that this server was created and under that one database has been created. Now I can add database also, as many databases I want. So that follows this. So this one server is created, which is running in my local system, and then this I can have multiple databases within that. So what I can do here is I can either go for the normal simple database that is here, or I can create a new database. So let me create a new database. So I create on the tutorial, the server name, and click on create, and then click on database. So I call it again tutorial underscore db underscore one. Now definitions, you can leave it as it is. Security, you can leave it as it is. Parameters and SQL, we can leave all of it as it is. So what does this actually say? That so in this GUI, that is user interface, I gave it a name called tutorial db1, And here it ran a query, that is create database whose name is tutorial db1 with owner, that is my name. It was Postgres. Encoding was UTF-8 and connection limit is -1. That's all fine. So the moment I click on save, you will see one more database will be created here. Yeah. So here you see inside database, one was Postgres, that was earlier one. Second one was tutorial DB1 that I just created. And each database has got multiple things. One is called casts, then catalogs, event triggers, extensions, foreign data wrappers, languages, and schema. These are like advanced concepts. So to begin with, we have to focus on the schema. Within schema, there are multiple things. You got tables, sequences, procedures, and functions. These four are major focus. Then it will be like materialized views and all of the stuff, and even views also. There are like multiple things, but in order to start with our tutorial, we would do it with tables because this is a fundamental concept of any database. So these tables are the same as these tables that we will be creating, the same tables here. Coming back to our PgAdmin, I open up this, expand this section called tables. So there are no tables, that's why nothing is shown up. I can right click and create a table. So let me do it that way. The same example, take it forward. So first I'll call this table products, and then I'll set up some columns here. In the columns table, columns field, you have this plus icon. Clicking on this, it will tell you what's the name and all, the column name or the field name. So if we look at this one, the column names are product ID, product name, product category, and price, isn't it? So I'll just copy these four. I'll paste them here. So first column would be product ID. One key thing to note is that never use spaces when you have two different words separating them, and replace spaces with underscore if that suits you. So here the data type would be, I'll call it as integer. Okay, so we'll talk about integers and different data types in a separate video. So in this case, we are assuming that you know what data types are. So this is not null, and this is a primary key, yes. Then we add another column, and this column name would be product name. So the name, call it like this, and product name is actually a string. Okay, so here when it comes to string in PostgreSQL, it is called character varying. So if you go, this one is the one, character varying. Length precision, we will give a product name. We, like being a shop owner, as in the example, we believe that there's hardly any product whose name can be more than 100 characters long. So we'll give it a limit of 100. Is null? No, it is not null. It has to have a value. That is what we mean. Primary key? No, it is not a primary key. I'll add another the other fields here. So product category and price, right? So I'll call it as a product category, product underscore category. And again, this is a character varying. Okay, and this is again not null. I add one more, and that would be price. The price, let's call it as an integer. So integer, and again not null. So nothing is not null. Like every cell has to have a value. This being a primary key should have unique values. Now if you see, the SQL again changed. Now it has given the names product name, product category, product ID, price, and so on. Primary key is product ID. Okay. Here you see product name and product category, both are character varying, that is string. Product ID is an integer and price is an integer, and everything is not null. I click on save, and here you see the products table has come up. Okay. So in this video, we have set up PgAdmin, and we have created our first database, as well as created our first table. So we have covered how to set up PgAdmin. Thank you.